For you guys tuning in on YouTube, be sure to check out our website, mocktechcorp.net/APL. This is Aegis, as usual, going to be casting one of the show match games. This is Game 3, NrG versus VP Gamers, and NrG's Steve is spawning over here as the green Protoss player, and his opponent is going to be Frisky as the red Protoss player, and did I say Zerg? Protoss player over here. Both players do play Protoss. This is match point. It does not have any sort of those towers in the center. It has these big high ground points where you do want to control. There's 9 mineral patches. I really don't know what Steve is typing. If anyone in the chat wants to tell me what this is, please do so. And we've got over here the natural expansion. It is guarded by this somewhat wide choke. It does have these Brood War-esque mineral fields over here and a very narrow choke, as well as a second entrance over to a third base that has no gas. And then there's a very high risk expansion over here with 2 gases. Gonna be able to take that later on in the game if it does decide to go that long. NrG Steve is just gonna build a pylon in his base, and same with his opponent Frisky over here. And both of these players are very highly ranked. I'm not sure how high Frisky is ranked, just because he was a last-minute sub in the APL. It is going to be early submissions for both teams, so that both teams do have time to practice a matchup on that particular map that has been set. So in the real APL in the season, we will not allow multiple subs as we did today, but it is a show match, so we're going to be very nice to our teams, or as nice as possible to our teams. And we've got over here the Grandmasters player, Steve, going to be starting to zap away at that one pylon. He is a 700 pointed Grandmasters player, and the first probe for Frisky is going to be scouting in here. Frisky was ahead by 1 food for just a second. And the gas is coming up for both players right now, and additional pylons as well. Definitely do not want to get supply blocked at 18 food. So we've got the 1 probe over here, surrounded and taken out. Steve gets a early kill, an early lead. He does have that 1 probe still zapping away at that pylon. Will he be able to do any sort of hull damage? I wonder. There's a Zella on the way, but it looks like doing some hull damage now. Finally, Frisky pulling a probe off is going to begin zapping away at that. Is going to bring that probe back once again. A little bit of micro action over here already. Both players playing quite fast at 150 some APM. Both players now grabbing the cybernetics core. Just a little bit late for NrG's Steve. Frisky's is done now. He is chrono boosting out the warp gate research, which does take an extra 20 seconds because of that patch. Cybernetics core now hidden back here. Not really hidden, it is right by the entrance. Now chrono boosting the warp gate research as well. No second gas for either player as of the moment. We'll see what kind of thing they decide to do. The probe here still continuing to be annoying. And that Zella is going to do some damage to that probe. Looks like it's going to be forced to back out right now. And the Zella is going to continue chasing it, but good luck to that Zella. The probes are really fast, and it is going to try to swing back here. It's going to hide over here and see when the expansion decides to go down, maybe. And the first stalkers out for Steve is going to be spotting around the inside of his base to make sure that there are no proxy pylons around the edges of his base as well. And it looks like Frisky is going for gate. How original. Frisky definitely wants to end this game as soon as possible. He's chrono boosting that warp gate research as much as he possibly can, even not chrono boosting out a second stalker. He's just gonna let that go as usual. We'll see if it does get stuck in here. I hope not, for his sake. We've got the probe over here getting taken out. It looks like that first stalker is going to be advancing forward. It's just Zealots out in the field, so he will be able to kite those all the way back to his base if it does decide to happen. There is now the first stalker spawning out for Frisky. This is sort of playing out like a normal PvP from back in the day. 4 gates for each player. Additional pylons going to make sure that everything stays powered. And looks like NrG's Steve is going for that defensive, well, we'll see what decides to happen. He is going to be throwing down a pylon over there. Definitely going to be trying to come over here. The 2 stalkers trying to do some damage. That probe is going to take some damage on the way home. And we're going to see if Frisky is able to take this with his 4-gating action. More stalkers getting spawned out onto the map. They are going to have to walk all the way over. That pylon is now going to come up. More stalkers coming out for Steve. He's going to be walling this off with a pylon, I guess. Maybe reinforce this point. Use that ramp to be able to defend his base. He's got one Stalker going to be scooting around this high ground area. We'll see if it gets caught out of position by these forces. Now morphing in additional units from Frisky, getting the second gas over on Steve's side right now. We'll see what he decides to do with that additional gas. And here comes the swing by on the top side. The Stalker count is actually higher for Steve, and the Stalkers are walking way ahead. He's going to be able to get the first shot off, and here it goes, taking out the probe. Will not be able to morph in additional Proxy pylons. More Zealots getting morphed in right now, and looks like the focus target being down. A couple of Zealots over there, and looks like Steve is going to be forced back right now, and Frisky continuing to push forward with his Stalkers, warping in additional Zealots right now. Steve is going to be backed up right now. He's got his Stalkers getting pulled back. He's got this proxy pylon that is going to get taken out. He's going to continue warping in units in his main. He's going to stop mining that second, or he's not going to mine that second gas at all. And it looks like Frisky is going to continue warping in additional Zealots and Stalkers to try to bust in here. And we've got Steve here advancing to his very narrow choke to try to hold this off. He doesn't have that many more units. Frisky way ahead in terms of the unit count. And here it comes, the Zealots advancing forward. NrG, Steve does not have enough units. However, the Stalkers are caught. The Zealots are caught in the backside for Frisky, and here comes the Zealots into the front. More Zealots getting warped in right now for Steve. Gonna try to do some damage over here, trying to back up his Stalkers, but additional Stalkers keep pouring in for Frisky, and the pull off of all of those probes is going to be very, very detrimental for Steve's economy if he does survive this onslaught. And here comes additional Stalkers now, and reinforcing for both players. And Steve is just in such a horrible position right now. The Stalkers trying to zap away at each other, and the probes as well. But the Stalkers count is getting destroyed from Steve. And here comes all of the remaining probes, and Steve does a GG. This game goes to Frisky, and it does look like VP has secured a lead into Game 4.